Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Optical Shadow, and today we are in my building competition testing world. And this is where I tested all 4 of my builds for the competition, making sure that I could time them right, and just testing out to see if they would even work as a good build. So this was my first build, and this is a tutorial video. You can probably see that by the title, and it doesn't make sense why you would want a tutorial of this build. I feel like it just wouldn't make sense. So I'm not going to be doing a tutorial on this one. If you guys really want it though, then I will. But there were 2 renditions of this build, and one of them was with this like cool almost like a pattern that was going through the whole phone and tablet, and I decided that it didn't necessarily make sense to have it that way. So let me just change this weather quickly. So it didn't make sense, so I just changed it to black. It just made it look a little bit more clean. And then my second build was, of course, the ranch. And there were a lot of renditions of this build, and I ended up going with one of them that I kind of just improvised. So I didn't even test any of the ideas that I actually did, besides really the lake in the actual build. But this was the second build. I'll show you the first one. The first one was literally just the house, and I decided that for some reason in the actual build that I did, the flower pots or the grass or the whatever you want to call them, they were actually spaced out differently, and I feel like the other build actually looked better, and there weren't like pots on the sides. It was just on the top and these 3. And I feel like that was pretty nice. But then this was my first rendition of the build, and then this was my second. I made this whole river. It took literally the entire time. I was able to do just a little bit of terrain and some bone meal and maybe a little bridge. But besides that, I felt like there wasn't really a lot more to the build, and I felt like if I did this rendition of the build, then it kind of seemed like it wasn't too much, and it didn't feel like it was using all the space that I had. Then I kind of just tested out what the lake would be like. So then I used that lake in the actual build. Of course, not exact. It was pretty different. And then this was my timed version of the build. So I did the house in the corner, so I didn't have to do the whole thing. Don't worry, in this video we will be doing the full house, so don't worry about that. Then I did the flag. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually do a tutorial on that. It's pretty simple, maybe in a different video. And then the lake, which we are going to be doing a showcase in this video. So I did a lake, a little river, and a bridge, and I felt like, again, this river, it was good. And then I did a random cliff in the corner, and this did not fit at all, and I decided that it wouldn't really make sense to have a cliff on a ranch, because ranch is supposed to be like open landscape and all that stuff. So I felt like it wouldn't really make sense, so I didn't put that in the build. I didn't really have time for the river, and I decided that doing the terrain was a little bit more important. So I did the terrain. I did one extra little pond, and I actually made the ground above below them actually sand, because I felt like that worked a little bit better. So that's what I did for my actual build. You saw it in the last video. Again, I would change a lot of things. Like, I would use a wall at the bottom of the flag, because I feel like it would make more of a sturdy base, and even just doing that, it makes it look a little bit better. So I would definitely change a lot of things, and today we are going to be discussing on how you would build a ranch in Minecraft. So let's get right into the tutorial. So actually, for this build, I actually had a set toolbar, and you were allowed to do that. So with all of these, I kind of was able to know how many blocks was each thing. So the chimney in total was 16 blocks tall, then the actual house was 18 blocks wide, and then, of course, this was 7. I just remembered that by heart. So we're actually going to start by making a wall, or just a strip, 18 blocks, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so on. Right, okay, once you have your 18 long concrete, right? So we want to use white concrete at first, and then we are going to detail it with the diorite. It's gonna basically look like falling off plaster, and you don't want to place the diorite randomly. I'll give you a technique on how to do it. So once you have that, we're actually going to go out 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the side another 2. Skip this middle block over here, go 1, 2, 3, then do the same thing, right? So it's basically, this is going to be like the outer layer that's right over there. right? And then you want to repeat the same 18 blocks on the other side. Okay, so once you have that done, then you want to go to the side, another 8, right? So it would be 9 blocks in total. And of course, repeat that on the other side. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So then after that, you want to just go along the back and just fill in all the blocks so it basically completes the entire area of the house. Of course, you can make it a bit wider, but I decided that the ranch isn't meant to be the main part of the build, and it shouldn't be that big. Again, it's only one floor anyway, even though it is a tall floor. Why does it always rain in my testing world? I don't know. But yeah, so this is the footprint of the house, and you could space up, let's say this would be the kitchen, and that would be the dining room. It really depends what you want to do, but I'm not doing an interior on this in this video, but I will be coming out with an interior. I say that about all my builds. I'm kind of doing it in waves. So I'm doing the tutorial, and then I'm doing a lot more tutorials, and then I'm doing all the interiors because I feel like it's an easier way for me to work things out, right? Okay, so now once you have your entire house layout fully done, you want to, of course, make your little door frame. Again, it doesn't look that big, and it really isn't. So then you want to just go on the sides like that, and let's actually go like this, right? And then you want to go up 3 blocks over here, right on top of these spaces, and then fill that over. This is going to be that big window, right? And then I'm pretty sure this is 8 blocks tall. So, yes, this is 8 blocks tall right here. And then you just want to fill in all the empty spaces besides that one big window. Okay, and then on each side, go up until they reach this spot. And then, of course, pull them over. So basically, get all of the corners to 8 blocks tall. And then you'll have these empty spaces, and we are going to fill those in later. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then over here on the same thing. And then, of course, you want to connect them. So just basically do that on every single corner, connect them all, and then I'll get back to you once you do that. Okay, now that we have the basic frame done, we want to make all the spots for the windows. So all the windows are going to be 4 blocks tall. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make that little arch going on top of it, and then fill in all the blocks on top of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, do the thing on top, and then fill in the blocks on top, right? For the actual sides, we're going to do the front first and then the back. So you want to skip the first block, and then on the second block away from this main jutting out part, you want to do your window, right? So I know that it's actually going to be 3 blocks from the top. Then you make your window, do the same thing on the other side, so fill in over there, then do 3 blocks from the top, make your window, fill that in. And then you want to go 3 spaces on each side, and in the middle, you want to make your third window. So let's fill in this window. And then after that, of course, you want to fill in all of the empty spaces besides those 3 windows. Okay, and of course, after you finish that, you want to repeat the same exact thing on the other side. So let's do that right now. Okay, now we basically have the facade. The front of the house is completely done. We again have a frame around the entire build, but the front of the house is done. We're going to work on the sides now. And again, you want to mirror the same exact thing onto the other side, right? So you want to go again, 1 space away from the wall on each side, and then you want to go 4 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then make your little thing on top of that, and then you're going to have a 3 wide window that is meant to happen as it is an odd number of blocks. So, again, mirror that on the same exact side, fill in all the other blocks besides that window. Okay, now that we have both of the sides done, now we are, of course, going to work on the only side left, which is the back. The back is tricky because it is just one long area, and what you actually might want to do with the back of the house is make just little, like, extended things coming out from the back, and then we will be able to mess around with those later. So maybe for this one, let's go like that. Yeah, basically just make some shapes. Try to make them not too big, a little smaller than the indent or the outdent, I don't know what you would call it, over there, and just kind of make little things coming out of the house, and it'll add a bit of extra depth to your build, and it'll look a lot nicer in the final product. So now that we have that done, we could actually work on making the back. Okay, so again, on this part of the wall, you want to make sure that there are at least 4 blocks before you make your first thing coming out of the back, because if you don't, then you won't have enough space for your window, right? So again, 4 blocks up, little arch on top, like that. And then, of course, on the other side, you want to do the same thing. Oh, I actually made a mistake here. I have to fix that. So this has to be 1 more in like that. And we got to fix this up because Actually, it has to be one more, because we need space for the windows. So just make sure that you have that enough space to actually make those windows. It's important. So I want to make it symmetrical on both sides, so I'm actually going to extend this one more. I'm pretty sure that's it. That's all I have to do. Yeah, there you go. I'm actually going to move this one a little closer to the middle because I want to make it symmetrical. Again, you don't have to copy the exact shapes that I'm doing. If you want to, that's fine. But again, you don't have to. So 1, 2, let's go like this. There you go. Okay. Now that it's symmetrical, we want to, of course, bring all of it up. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, do our little archway. Again, I recommend that you try doing your own shapes coming out of the back, but if you want, you can copy what I did. I'm actually going to make this a 3, so it's basically, this is just like all windows, and then we're going to bring it up, like so. There you go. Okay, and then we want to do the same thing on the other side, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Do the same thing over here. Okay, now that we have both of these boxes done, actually I need to fill this in. Okay, now that we have both of our outcrops, that's what it is, outcrops of the build done for real now, let's work on this middle section and the two actual flat with the build walls. Okay, so for this middle section, it really depends what the actual thing is, but for mine, you actually don't have enough space on the sides for windows, so I'm just gonna have to bring it all the way up with walls. And with the middle, though, I can make a 3 wide window, so I'm going to do that for this build. So let's quickly do that now. And there you go, 3 wide window. And now we have all of the outcrops done. Now it's time to move on to the walls. So again, what you want to do, come up 1 block away from the walls on both sides, and then kind of just measure out how much space you have. You'll probably only have enough space for 2 windows, that's fine. And then maybe 1 or 2 blocks in between. It depends how many outcrops you do. It doesn't really matter how many you do, but I decided I wanted 3, so let's go like this. There you go. And of course, do that on all the sides of your build if you haven't already. And it's a very simple build to do. It just doesn't necessarily take the shortest amount of time, but it's a very repetitive amount of things, right? So, now that we have all the windows and everything is kind of filled in, we want to actually work on the roof. So, the roof of this design is one of my favorite roofs I've done in a while, just because it has these dormers on the top, and they look a little bit complicated. They're actually super duper easy. So, let's work on the beginning. So, let's work on this little outcrop over here. And of course, you want to start with stairs on the 9th block. And let's just go up in a basic A-frame. If you don't know how to do this very simple technique, it's a stair under and a stair over, and it makes a smoother thing. Then over here, an upside down stair, and then a slab on top. Again, I'm using stone bricks. You could use whatever. Kind of mess around if you want to see which blocks work the best with each other. You could use some of the new nether blocks, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that the white concrete and everything works together, so it'll be a solid build. Again, stairs are a bit tricky sometimes, but trust me, it looks a lot better than using slabs or just solid blocks. So now that we have that done, we want to fill in all of this with white concrete. Again, we will be detailing it with diorite later, just not at the moment. Right, okay, so that is the basic A-frame of the entire build. Again, you want to do the same exact thing for the entire outcrop, so for all of them, you want to make those A-frames. If it is an even amount of blocks on your outcrop, so let's say it was 6 blocks wide instead of 7 on all of mine, or 5 on all of mine, what you would want to do is in the middle, instead of doing an upside-down stair, you would want to do just another one of these, and that would make basically the same exact thing that you would with the slab. It would just be made up of stairs, and there would be no slabs on it. Okay, so after you finish your 3 outcrop mainframes, or that's a computer term, after you finish doing your 3 A-frames on top of the outcrops, what you want to do is actually just go around, wrapping around your stone bricks until you reach both of the ends, right? So you want to just fully wrap it around the entire build. Why does it always rain when I'm recording? It always rains. It's annoying, right? So you wrap it around all the sides. Again, I kind of forgot this space over here, so you want to fill all all of that in. Okay, now that we actually have the entire outcrop of the build done, what you want to do now is just fill in all the spaces that have empty, all of the empty spaces on all of these roofs, because they, again, need to be filled in so they don't look a little weird with just air on that side but concrete down below. Right, so now that we have all of those filled in, now it's starting to look more and more like the build that we want it to look like. Right now we're going to do on the sides, it's going to be a very, very big A-frame, but it's going to look really good. So you want to make sure again that your A-frame goes until the middle on both sides. So I need to go just this one block, then do the upside down stairs, slab on top. Now let's do the same thing on the other side. Basically, once you practice doing this A-frame a lot, you get used to how it works, and you kind of just end up swooping side to side, and you get the hang of it eventually. Okay, now that you've finished both of the A-frames on both sides of the house, of course you want to fill it in with the concrete like we did with all of the other roofs. We're actually going to work on the main roof itself. What you want to do for the little dormers that are on both of the builds, that are on both sides of the house in the front, what you want to do, you want to go out 2 blocks from the stairs, right? So 1, 2, and then over here make your little 3x3 with a hole in the middle. That's going to be for the window over there. And then do a basic A-frame. So basically start on the 3rd block and just go up. It should be very, very small A-frame, but it will look good. So it's very, very simple. Doesn't need a lot of stairs. But yeah, so that is the first dormer. And then we are going to do the same thing on the other side. So 2 stairs, and then go over here and do the same thing on the other side of the build. Okay, once you have those 4 dormers done, we're going to actually work on the main roof of the house, which is going to be made up of dark oak stairs. I think that it goes really well with the stone brick and the concrete, so I'm just going to wrap around the entire front of the build, not the back, so don't do the back yet, but basically just wrap around the entire front of the build. So once you reach the top, then stop. So once you go to this last stair over here, then just wrap it all the way around. It should reach over here, and then wait for the next instructions. Okay, so it is a bit tricky once you reach the actual dormers. What you want to do is actually replace, just on the sides of the actual window, nowhere else needs to be placed, concrete. Seriously? It always rains. It always rains when I'm trying to record just one clip. Come on, just have one clip without that. It's annoying. It's really annoying. So yeah, just fill all of that in, and once you actually reach over here, what you want to do is actually just wrap it around like that. And actually maybe do 3 stone bricks going like that, and then of course do the same thing on top. So the slabs should be 3 blocks. I think actually it'll be 4 eventually, but make it 3 blocks for the stairs and 3 blocks for that, and then the actual dark oak stairs will wrap around and it'll look like it's all closed up. So that's what you want to do. So just wrap it around the dormers and it will be awesome. Okay, and I forgot that you actually need to fill in the actual spaces for the dark oak on the actual dormers themselves, right? So let's quickly do that, and just they will end up integrating perfectly into the roof itself. So this is what it'll look like on the actual side, which looks pretty cool. So let's do the same thing on this side like that, and then you want to do the stair over here. So basically just wrap it around as I said, and I'll get back to you once you finish doing that. So you actually want the slabs to be 5 blocks long, including this top, because that'll make it reach into the actual space that you need it to. So again, do the same exact thing on the other side, and then after you do that, you actually want to fill in this entire top part with slabs. I know I didn't fill in this part of the house, but that's what you want to do. You want to just fill in. Oh, I made a mistake over there. You want to fill it in. That's going to be like the cross beam going across the whole thing. Let's actually connect all of these up, because that's how it's supposed to be. So let's go like this, and even with the middle one, it's not going to connect as high up. It's going to connect right over here, because that's where the stair is going to end up. So let's actually finish doing this entire side of the house, and I'll get back to you once I finish doing that. Okay, the front of the roof is now fully done, and this house is starting to look a lot more like the build that you saw behind me than it did before, right? Now we have the dormers in. The one thing that you could probably see on this build that isn't on this build that you could see so far is, first of all, the windows and the chimney. The chimney is a really big part of this build, and what you're going to actually need to do on the side of this house, you know, there was a 3-wide window, you got to make that a 2-wide window. The only reason for that is that you need to punch out a hole like this and just go all the way up, so it should be 1 block away from the top, and it'll actually be inside the roof, so not on the stone bricks, but it'll be one behind it, right? So then you want to fill all that up with bricks. It should be flat with the wall. We're going to make it more outright than this later, but for now, we just want to go up 16 blocks, right? So once it reaches 16 blocks tall, how much is that? It always... Stop raining. It's annoying. So you want to count, of course, 16 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So let's go like that. Again, don't actually place these blocks. Those were just to count. Oh, and I made something over there, right? Okay, so now what you want to do, go 3 blocks up over here, and then go maybe 6 or 7, like that. And then, going up 1 less block than this, just put in 3 stairs. So it should be 3 blocks, then, no, not 3 stairs, 3 walls, right? So 3 blocks, then 3 walls, and then just 7 blocks on that side. And then on the very top, after you reach those 16 blocks, place 2 campfires, 2 walls on top of that, because the smoke will actually still go through that, and it looks a lot more like a chimney that way. And then just put some dark oak trap doors all around it. And then when you come back, it looks awesome. And even what you could do, you could place another chimney on the other side, because I know a lot of houses actually have multiple chimneys. I just feel that the one chimney makes it look a little bit simpler, and I feel like it just enhances like the ranch feel of the build. Just to have one, it looks more like a manor when you have the second. And now we want to work on the roof of the second part of the house. On this side, because you have all the cutouts, we're not going to place any dormers, because the dormers were they're not going to fit in with the build. You could probably place like 1 here in the middle on both of these sides, but don't place all 4, because they will just connect directly to this and it will not look good. So I'm actually going to place just dormers in the middle over here. So like this, 1, 2, 3. You want to make sure, of course, it's centered, so it's not going to look a little bit wonky when you come back and look at it. So let's do it on that side, and of course on this side. Is that in the middle? Yes, it is. Again, this is going to be different for each person that builds this house, because you get to decide what you do with your jut out sizes, right? So, of course, you want to do the same thing for the dormers, fill in the entire roof, and do the same exact technique as we used on the other side to fill in all the roofs. And once you do that, once you fill in the roof, then I'll tell you exactly what we're going to do next. Well, it took a while, as all roofs do, but now we have a beautiful roof going through the entire house. This house is starting to really come together. Again, the interior might be a little bit dark because the roof is now fully on, and I will be doing a tutorial on the interior very soon, a tutorial for all of the interiors of all of the houses that I've done so far, besides of course the modern suburban house, which I basically just showed the interior. But now that we have this, it's starting to really come together. We need to put in the windows. I actually have toolbars, so I'm actually gonna be able to fill in the windows pretty quickly, but again, you want to use white glass panes for the windows. It just looks pretty clean, and it fits in with the style of the build. So again, just all the empty spaces that you have at the moment, you want to fill all of those in with your glass. Well, all of the glass, actually, not all of the glass. You got to fill in that little spot on all the dormers. I have 6 in total. You might have 4, you might have 8. It really depends how your roof is styled. But you got to fill in that one little space with glass, because those are meant to be windows. And now all of the windows are fully filled in. Of course, this is not a window, that is a door. You can make the door a little bit bigger if you want. I just feel that a regular door fits in a little bit better with the style. So now let's go back to our main part of the build, and we have to place in a lot of diorite. So if you are in survival, you gotta do a lot of mining. It might be a little hard early game if this is your starter house or something. You have got to be why that is, I feel like they're teasing me. I don't know who they is. Ooh, we have an infestation. That's not good. Yeah, I think we might have needed to light up our house just a little bit more, but we didn't do that. That's not a good thing. But now all we need to do is fill in all the diorite, and you don't want to place randomly. That will not look good. You see on this build how it's not just placed randomly. It's not like little things. So what you want to do, instead of placing randomly like this, is actually make it almost look like they're like little strips of just diorite that are basically just like ripped plaster. And I took this idea from B-Low, again, another member of the Hermitcraft community, and that looks a lot better than just placing randomly. But yeah, this white concrete and diorite design is from him, and it looks really awesome. So again, don't place randomly. You could start with one block just in a random place, but then actually bridge off from that, basically. So you don't want to have everything just being random. You want to almost have it like it's ripping off of the main part, right? So that already looks good. You want to do that around the entire house. It will take a while. It will, especially if you're in survival, because then you have to place all of this white concrete for nothing. But it's a lot easier when you have a blank canvas. I said that so weirdly. It's a lot easier when you have a blank canvas to play with, because you don't have to just like make random little things of diorite coming around. It'll be so much easier if you fully fill in everything with the white concrete first. But it's your decision. So once you fill all this in, we have some terraining to do. And again, you also want to add some little detail onto the dormers by putting in diorite. Even this little quarter of a block, you actually want to place in some diorite, of course not across the entire thing, and you want to make sure that you actually place the block, but even just that tiny little detail makes the whole build kind of come together a little bit nicer. So don't do the same exact thing on both of them, but you want to just put diorite around the entire build, and it will look really good, really detailed, and the texture on the build will look awesome. That took the longest time, but you see how much it improved make it more rustic. It improved the build in a way that it almost doesn't improve the build. If you kind of understand that. Yeah, I also kind of may have by accidentally done that. That wasn't intentional. Okay, but yeah. Now the build looks awesome, and that's pretty cool. So now you want to get some grass blocks and put those in front of some windows, just the front ones and the side ones and maybe some other ones. We'll see. But yeah, so in front of all of these ones, all the front ones, not the side ones, so not those ones, but these ones, just place in some grass. It'll look a lot cooler eventually. It's not just going to be some grass. I'm pretty sure you probably saw. And again, you want to do just one over there and not ones on the dormers. It wouldn't really make sense. Let's go back to our dark oak trapdoors. And for this one, though, we want to go on the bottom. And then, of course, you want to just wrap the trapdoors all around. Do that for these also. Nope, that is the wrong way. So yeah, for all of them, just put the dark oak trapdoors all around. Of course, not on the top. That would not make sense. Okay. All the trapdoors are in, and now we want to get some bone meal. And we just want to bone meal it up. Really depends what biome you're in. You want to take away all the grass or the flowers that are not actually in the ranch itself or on the actual pots. That time it didn't happen. That time it happened though. Right? So you want to take those away. Not those. Because we will add them later in a more kind of systematic way, right? So just take all of those out. It depends what biome you're in. You might not even get flowers, but you could always reach out. You could always adventure out and get flowers yourself. If you don't have flowers in the biome that you're in, you should always have long grass and normal grass, but it would be weird if you didn't. Oh, we gotta replace that. And now all of those have things in it, and it's starting to look a little bit more lively, which is definitely a good thing. And this is like the basic structure of the entire house. So really, you could stop it here, put in a little door. So let's get a dark oak door, because I feel like that looks the best on this build. And you could place this in, make an interior, and that would be the house done. But I feel that when you don't have the area around the ranch, it kind of doesn't make sense. So we are going to not stop after we just did this house. We are going to do a little bit more, which is definitely a good thing. So what you want to do for a little lake, again, this is basically going to be like almost like modular. So again, all the lakes don't have to be the same thing. Make a semi-round shape going around. Get it? No. Okay, sorry. Not even going to mention the fact that I said that, right? So now we have a little, pretty big actually, little pond. I said little again, I don't know why. But yeah, now that we have a solid shape, what you want to do, of course, before you put in the water, is from my trees tutorial video, you might have to watch that if you haven't already, is you want to make a little tree, but instead of using the terracotta and all the stuff that we used that time, we are going to use leaves. And the leaves that we are going to use is, of course, oak. You want to actually use the actual oak wood, not the logs, because it looks a lot smoother, right? So that's what we're going to do over here. Actually, let's go like that. And again, look at the tree tutorial design if you haven't already. It gives a lot of tips and tricks for making trees like this. Did that rhyme? I'm not sure. Right? This is a pretty small tree, so you could add a little bit more, like that. Maybe go like that and that, right? And now that we have our tree, instead of using the terracotta, as I said, we're going to use leaves. So what you want to do to add a little bit more on what I said in that video, you want to add drooping leaves. If you're actually using leaves, make it like almost like drooping, right? So kind of just around the middle, make it that it's almost like one block above, so that it feels like it's just connected to the actual branches and not the tree itself. So let's make some drooping stuff coming down from that. Okay, and the tree is about to be done. There we go. Now that you have a little tree, which looks pretty cute, it looks pretty good, right? Now what you want to do is punch almost like a littler hole. You thought I was going to place the water, didn't you? Yeah. You want to place like a little deeper hole, just because that'll add a little bit more depth to your lake. You don't have to. If you have a smaller lake, I wouldn't even suggest doing it. But as I do have one of the bigger lakes that I've made, you actually do. And then, of course, you want to fill it in so it's all solid, because lakes are not meant to be moving. And then you could place sugarcane and bamboo. Of course, if you want, you could put string on top of it. But just place it around, and after you do that, you've got to be kidding. I think there's been one clip this entire time that I've been doing this tutorial that there hasn't been a raining. And sorry, got a little off track there. What you want to do is also place in some coarse dirt, because that really helps almost like the feel of the build itself, and it kind of just adds a little bit more detail to the actual build itself, as I said like 4 seconds ago. Right, so place a little around. I missed that block. There you go. And it's almost nighttime, so there you go. And now, it's almost done, but what we want to do is actually place some sandstone stairs and slabs, not everywhere, so you want to keep some of the blocks opened, and this just adds a little bit more detail if you want it to be a sandy lake. If you don't want it to be a sandy lake, then you don't have to do any of this. You don't have to do any of this anyway. But I feel like I like the way that the sand looks under the water, and I feel like it actually adds a lot more, almost like more lakey than a pond or something like that. So I like using sand instead of dirt a lot better. So let's just fill all of this in with some sand. Maybe on the bottom over here, like a stair, like over there, and a slab. Stair over there again. Oh, that needs to be waterlogged, like so. And now you have a little lake, which looks pretty awesome. And that is how you make a lake. Of course, you could add bamboo, so then you could place those all around your ranch. And of course, you can make little terrain bumps and everything. And I might teach you how to make a river in a more upcoming and recent video. Not recent. What's the word for, like, in the future? What is it? In an upcoming video. That's it. So in an upcoming video, I might teach you how to make the river, but I didn't for my ranch in the first place, and I don't think that it's really important. The American flag really is not important. You could check, like, literally one clip from my video, from the Twitch video, and you'll be able to basically get it down in like 4 seconds. But this is the entire ranch. I think this looks amazing. And it looks a ton better than the one I did for the contest, but I would definitely not have been able to build this in 25 minutes. So, this is my tutorial on how I made this build. And yeah, what you could even do, in previous videos I showed you how to make like little paths going from the actual thing. I'm probably going to do that for the thumbnail. So in the thumbnail you probably saw that it had like a little path coming out of it, and it's very simple. Place path blocks, some gravel, some cobblestone, and it'll look awesome. Maybe some stone bricks and cracked stone bricks if you want to make it a little bit more fancy. But basic ideas, this is how you make the ranch. I went on tangents literally the entire video, but that's not the point. I just wanted to get this out to you. If you wanted to, you could even add little acacia leaves and jungle leaves to this tree to add a little bit more detail. I decided not to, though. Went on tangents again, oh my god. Yeah, okay. That was a fun video to make. Very, very chilled out. I hope you enjoyed that stutter of a video. It was very stuttery. I kind of did this all freestyle, meaning I didn't like have any idea of what the build was going to look like in the first place, so I kind of just made the house, and it turned out good. I think it turned out good. But yeah, it definitely wasn't necessarily a good thing, because I was just basically saying like 50% of the time. And I said it again. There you go. That's just you know what, let's just end the video there.